Welcome everybody to another episode of Unfinished Business. My name is Tyler and I'm joined by Taylor, Matt, and Corey. And this is episode 11. We're super stoked because we're live. We figured this out somehow. So a couple weeks ago, one of us, I think it was Taylor or somebody, was like, yo, should we try some live? And we're like, is that possible? And we're like, yeah, sure. So we're going to give it a shot. We're going to do some live stuff. Maybe we can see what's going on in the chat and everything and enjoy some of that. But we have a couple of different updates for you guys this week. We're going to talk about a little bit of news. We're going to talk about some Niklas going back to Discmania. We're going to talk about the new discs that have been released, or at least to be test flights. We're going to talk about the Shelly Sharp Open and maybe touch on Drew Gibson's latest post, and then we have some other stuff that we're going to discuss later in the episode. So if you guys want to join us in the chat, you're more than happy to put some stuff in there. Matt's going to keep an eye on that for us. But we like to start off our episodes just by talking about, is there anything going on in your world of disc golf right now? And I'm going to go ahead and kick us off this week and start and say, I got nothing going on right now. Like, I've got some discs that are going to be coming in soon that I get to try and have fun with, but there's still like 6 inches of snow on the ground. It got warm today, about 41 degrees. There's no disc golf going on right now. Like, there's absolutely nothing. It's like we're almost at 2 weeks of no disc golf. It's so painful. So what about you guys? Anything going on?
I played this weekend once.
Nice.
It's kind of been rainy and like the warm weather's starting to come in. So with that comes the rain. So it's been tough. But I was going to say, as you guys all know, I've been putting very well recently. So naturally today I ordered some new putters. So we'll see how that goes when they come in. Why? So I was just perusing the Infinite Disc, just looking around, and there were some super sick swirly in blend myths, pink ones, that I just couldn't pass up. There was like a pair of 2 super swirly ones. I was like, I have to get these. So I putted with Myths when I first switched to Infinite, and just kind of, I switch putters all the time. So I'm just going to try them out. We're going to see what happens.
Compared to your last putter, how does it fly?
I would say they fly very similarly. The Myth just has a bead, where the Alpaca is beadless. So Myth might be a little shallower, like just barely, but beaded versus beadless. Yeah, we'll try it out.
That's cool.
All right. He'll try some.
If you
I'm
guys
the same boat as Tyler.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to say, Matt, why is it every week I cut you off right when you're going to say what you're saying?
I'm going to say the same thing Tyler has. I haven't played disc golf in ages. I'm signed up for a tournament on Saturday. It's supposed to be 42 degrees and sunny, and I think most of it will melt it off. It's going to be terribly muddy. But I just have not played disc golf in ages. Every time I try to play, it does not matter. There's a foot of snow on the ground right now, so I'm just waiting for it to melt off.
No run up at all.
No,
it's like running through like tall weeds.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah. You just got to give up.
Yeah. If you guys notice, Corey is finally home.
Yeah.
He made it.
Dude, you guys don't even understand. So our last podcast, I was in the hotel. I was supposed to come home the next day via flight. On the way to the airport, bless you, on the way to the airport, flight got canceled. So I drove 8 hours in a rental car to get home because it would have been faster than waiting for another flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I got through a lot of podcasts that I was holding up on. So that's always good.
Corey's so well informed right now. He's got all the information.
No, they're not all disc golf podcasts, but I'm well informed in everything.
Yeah. I'm a little disappointed that we don't see the Birdie Marvel in the background, the poster.
You do, you just don't know.
Oh, it's right there next to Sonic. Yeah, there it is. Hey, what is that? Is that the 2022 Putter of the Year? Perfect.
Imagine the editing if like you just threw it up there and it just stuck.
We'll work on that later.
But no, I haven't played disc golf probably as long as you guys. It rained today, which got rid of probably 60% of our snow.
Nice.
And I'm supposed to be playing Sunday morning with some buddies. I don't know if I'm going to film it yet. It might just be a very casual round. But I did pick up some new discs. Usually, this podcast is known for me somehow just sliding all of my discs into other people's bags. This time, Tyler slid the Hypercane into my just beef slot.
Yeah.
And so this is a 13 speed.
Wait one second. Kyle, if you're watching this, suck it. Because I'll tell you about why in a minute. But there you go. DGA in your bag.
So it was between this and the Venom for the like overstable slot. I do have a Finish Line Daytona, but the Daytona, I wouldn't say it's flippy, but if I put like some into it, it just goes straight for really long. And this is basically Wind Fighter, or if I know that I need something to just like immediately start going to the right on a forehand. So I'm going to be trying this. I do want to get the SP blend because that just looks better.
Yeah.
But I'm glad
nice.
this is like a bright yellow.
Hypercame SP, imagine that's probably like a Nuke OS. That thing has got to be so stable.
I feel like this rim isn't as big as like a Nuke rim though.
Yeah.
It's not as wide. So.
That's what I've heard too.
And then I also picked up, every time I find like a really cool Get Freaky colorway, I usually get it. And this is as close to red as I can find because if you look through it, it's like pink.
Yeah.
It's that weird, I don't know. Discraft does not have a good red plastic. It always looks pink.
I did see a really good red DGA Quake on Macy Valadiaz's Instagram today, though. So
was it? Yeah, but was it PL?
It was.
They could do that if it gets see through.
Like Z or
it
whatever.
turns like pink. Yeah.
Oh. I have a Nuke OS that's very red. Go check out my In the Bag 2024. You can go see.
Okay.
The reason why I'm shouting out Kyle is because we got into a big argument today, and it was more of me trolling more than anything. But I've been on the whole DGA train ever since Corey whispered SP plastic in my ear, and I was like, I've never thrown DGA before. Let me get some. And then today I because Parker Welk won over the weekend, I was saying DGA is greater than Discraft, and it started a big forest fire, and we just got into it. So that's the reason why I wanted to have that plug real quick.
Would you consider yourself now a DGA hole?
No, but
that's a good one.
That was. But I will say I like what I'm throwing right now, but I'm not going to go out of my way to throw DGA. I'll say that much. Until DGA comes knocking at my door, begging me to throw their plastic, I'm going to.
You don't have to
It's
lie.
coming soon.
I like DGA, but I got to get in a tournament, and I got to like screw it up in a tournament with their plastic one time, and then I'll be done with them. That's just how it'll go for me.
Whatever.
But I listen, I got the Rift in the bag. I've got the Avalanche. I got Marwee's Avalanche. I've got the regular Avalanche right now in the bag. I have the Tempest and the Pipeline and the Hurricane. So those are all the DG I have in the bag. So liking it so far. So we'll see. So we have a bunch of stuff to get through news-wise. So let's start off by talking about the Niklas Antila. I don't even know. I call it a debacle because it's very, very odd. So let's figure out what you guys think. Niklas Antila signs to Discmania for 4 years on their Sky team. And in his post, he talked about how he was going to end a chapter with it sounded like with Discmania, and then he was like, be on the lookout for news in the future. So we all assumed, and we talked about this last week, that he was going to Prodigy, and then all of a sudden he comes out and he's like, oh, I've re-signed with Discmania for 4 years and I'm on their Sky team. So curious to think, was it trolling? Was it we didn't understand, or did something go wrong where he tried to go somewhere else and he came back to Discmania? What do we think, Corey?
Well, first off, what is the Sky team? Is that like their top tier?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think he was trolling. I think some of these European guys have like a very weird sense of humor. And we just did not like put two and two together, because I could just picture him saying like, what if, like, just picture if someone very well known did this. Like if like Eagle was like, I'm parting ways with Discmania, and then 2 weeks later he's like, I'm signing a new contract with Discmania, it would blow up because everyone would be like, oh my God, he got us all.
Yeah.
I feel like Niklas, at least to us, isn't as big yet.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
But I got a chuckle out of it. I mean,
I don't know. I genuinely
I had
think
to
like
go back.
I think the timeline is more like, I mean, and I was in this with like my career a couple of years ago. I'm sure, you know, if you've been in the workforce long enough, you had a similar situation where like, did I want to leave my job? No. Did I get an offer for a lot more money that I pretty much kind of was almost forced to take? Yes. Did I then go to my employer and say, I have this offer, I don't really want to leave, but like make it make sense? And then I stayed because they made it make sense. I think he got an offer from a team and said, look, I want to be on the Sky team. I want to make at least a match from this if I'm going to stay. And originally Discmania said, sorry, you know, go to the other team. And then probably either thought about it, funds came up, Eagle left, things changed. You're like, yeah, actually, Niklas, maybe we can fit you in on the Sky team. And then Niklas is like, oh, perfect, I'm already comfortable with this plastic. I just left for basically compensation. So it's an easy choice for him just to take a match and come back. But I don't know if that's exactly what happened, but I could very easily like see that being the case.
Yeah, I agree. I think either case is like common. I think this could just be a joke that no one really got until after the fact, you know, which would have been the case every time. But, you know, it's just unusual from that. And maybe it's more unusual because like I feel like we don't hear a lot from him other than what he's playing. And then that's about it, you know, like it's not like, yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
So something's really fascinating that I'm looking at Niklas's timeline. On December 28th, he puts on Instagram the picture of his new BMW, and he says, turning 22, gift for me. Okay. So everyone assumed he signed a big contract with somebody and he splashed some cash. But then 2 days later, he says he's pretty much, it sounds like he's leaving Discmania. He says at the very end, I'm so grateful to Discmania for the willingness to help me go after my dreams. However, 3 Finnish world titles, a European champion title, and numerous memories. It's time to turn a new page in my career. Announcement about my future coming in the near weeks. It just sounded so weird. How did he have a
was strange? Yeah.
Technically, he did not say that he was leaving Discmania. He just said the next chapter. If I was getting a promotion, I'd want it to be like an announcement.
Right. So it's fascinating the timing of he posted about the car thing, and then he posted he was leaving Discmania. So we all assumed that he had already signed with somebody else and had the money. Maybe he didn't even get the bonus money to get that car. Maybe he just bought it just to buy it. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to think a Finnish person would troll like this necessarily. It's not the culture, but like as Corey was saying, I think we're quickly starting to learn that some of these Finnish guys are low key, like dry humor kind of guys and sneaky funny. I honestly think he thought he was going to get more money somewhere else, didn't. And then he went back to Discmania and they worked it out, and then he got his money. What's really crazy is that he is probably the best European male player. So why companies weren't trying to snag him over in Europe is beyond me. So I feel like Discmania wanted to do everything they could to hang on to the European presence. So I don't know why they weren't trying to sign Niklas like immediately. Or maybe we all just got fooled. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, Scott just said, once again, he never said he was leaving, and that is right. So maybe it's a little Corey. I would call that a completely Corey move, but
I know he never said he was leaving, but it was just like I don't know. I'm not hung up on it.
I just feel like if you're gonna stay with, like, Discmania could have marketed that so much better if the entire time they knew he was gonna go to Sky Team, and like they could have come with some trailers. Like, I want to bring this up too because I think this is hilarious talking about Discmania and signings. I love that all the marketing for Gannon was like the future's here, Gannon Burr, and you literally have Kyle Klein, who's a major winner last year, on the team already. It's like, what about Kyle, bro? But no,
Poor
I think
Kyle,
if
dude.
they knew Niklas was there the whole time, I feel like they could, at least spin up some marketing around it on Discmania side, so it's not all just like Niklas's personal like Instagram or whatever that's getting all the attention.
Yeah.
What if they didn't? What if they didn't know? Like he was like,
Yeah.
"All right, guys, it's been
See you
fun,"
later.
and he closed the door. And then like 10 minutes later, you just hear a knock, and then he's like, "Hey guys,
Just kidding.
I'd like to negotiate something with you." Yeah.
Yeah. The thing though about Kyle Klein is that Gannon, they actually brought this question up to Gannon on one of the interviews, and he said he didn't take it as in like he was overstepping Kyle. He was saying like this is a new era of team, and that's what the future is here for. But if that's the case, they did not handle that like that team aspect transition very well, because they just used it for Gannon. If the future was here for the whole team, they would have featured the whole team. So weird that they did it with Gannon. Yeah, I know Gannon was trying to like help himself out there and not look like it was about him, but it was like, they think they're getting a big guy out of Gannon for certain. So I thought that was interesting. Niklas, 4 more years. So it'll be interesting to see how he does this coming season. Next thing we should touch on real quick, the new Kratos and the Pixel have been released, and the Kratos will be available up at the Northeast Convention this weekend, coming up. But the Kratos is going to be released in sparkle or crystal sparkle plastic, and I think it's like a putter baseline plastic. Is that what a swirly baseline putter plastic? But the Kratos, as we all have found out through like the leak of that file, is a Luna with a bead on it, a micro bead. So it sounds like everyone thought the TI Luna was going to be like the stable one, and it's really not. I've thrown it. It's not. It's just straight, and then it has a slight finish at the end. Out of all the videos I've seen everyone throw, it looks like this is actually the one that flies straight and then has some finish at the end. So I don't know. Any thoughts about any of those guys?
No. I was gonna say, Tyler, I watched more videos about the TI Luna, and everyone agreed. They're like, this isn't stable.
No.
And understandable. If it is the stable Luna, that's pretty much what everyone was just hoping the Luna was in general. Now my question is, did they release the flight numbers of the Kratos? Because the flight numbers is like, shouldn't they be 3303? Like, what are they going to do?
So is it actually just the Luna's flight numbers? And
probably it should be.
It should be, but I'm saying if they go 3304, like that seems ridiculous. It's not a zone, it's not a breaker, but they can't go 3302 because then you're saying your Luna's more stable.
Less stable than a Luna, yeah.
It looks go ahead.
What if how they did the Zone OS where it said beef, it just says Luna?
Oh,
I like that.
Like in the actual flight squares, it says LUNA.
Yeah, I think pretty much what it looks like. It looks like it's like a P2 that just is a little more glidey or faster, is what it is. Like this one actually has finish to it, and compared to what it was before. But Pixel was released as well. A lot of people are hype about the Pixel as well. Sounds like it's a shallower Nomad, I think is what they're saying. A little less fade on it as well. So which one, this is a fun question I was going to ask about this one. Which one do you think will sell better, the Kratos or the Pixel?
I think the Pixel.
I think the Pixel too.
Yeah.
I do think it would be sick if Discraft got like some God of War licensing on that thing and put like, actual Kratos from God of War on there. That you could sell some frisbees with that stuff. But I think the Pixel will sell better. I think it's funny how I don't think I've seen anyone throw a Pixel yet. Like I've seen Simon putt with it. I've seen Drew putt with it. I don't think I've seen anybody throw it, which is interesting to me.
There's a guy who likes reviewing MVP. I think his name is TK Disc Golf or something like that on YouTube. He just did a review of it. Yeah, shout out. I just found that. So because I was looking, I was like, how does this thing fly? And it flies just like Simon's old beat-in P2s or his P1 that he threw that was really, really straight.
Oh, okay.
So it's the exact same
Do
thing.
you think anybody will throw it though? Like I feel like Simon's still going to throw a proxy, right? Like for the most part.
I mean, the question would be like, if you have a proxy and you have an envy, like considered arguably the greatest throwing putters in the world, like are you ever going to opt in for?
When he talked about it on his video, he talked about the way he said he wanted a putter that flew like this. So it sounds like he's going to be throwing it.
Yeah.
So,
I will say, like, it could be glidier. No one really throws the Nomad, like, as a throwing putter. I throw the Nomad. I threw the Nomad a little bit, but none of them were like that crazy glidey putter, like a P2 would have been. You know?
Yeah.
So something like that could sit there.
Yeah.
I will be curious if the Kratos is just, if having a bead, I don't know how much of a bead is on that thing, but like if having a bead just makes it so uncomfortable in your hand. I don't think it will, but it will make it deeper. And if you're someone who has smaller hands, if you're Bedanza, it's a GG's for you. It might be, you might be stuck there, but I don't know. I got a feeling.
It doesn't look like that big. It looks like do you know the new MD3s? Actually, no, Matt doesn't know this. Actually, and neither does nobody. Nobody knows this except for me. The new MD3s that came out have a slight microbead on it and make it a little bit more stable than the old MD3s that Innova made. That's honestly the only difference in the mold, in my opinion. So it makes it just have more finish at the end. You would never know if you held the old MD3 and the new one. So,
understandable. Yeah, I bet you. I will say, I bet you if it is just a stable Luna, how many in the bag is going to be like, okay, I got a Kratos here, and then I just got a Luna here.
Especially like when you got that like crystal sparkle, that thing. I mean, it looks so good, dude.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be one of those things where like pros that have access to like every disc in existence will still throw like the most stable Lunas that exist, and then like normal people just be like, oh, I'll just buy a Kratos and like deal with the bead.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people say I would putt with the Luna if it had a bead because they like a bead putter. So there we go. Now we just filled that, and we'll see how much it really sells and doesn't sell. So next thing that I want to bring up though to us is we had a bunch of things kick off the disc golf season, especially the A tier, the Shelly Sharp Open out in Arizona, where we had Parker Welk taking down AB into a playoff, and then also Drew Gibson came in third, who played really well the first day, had a really bad putting day the second day, and then had a really good putting day the last day. I think he was 13 down and then bogeyed 2 of the last 3 holes. So Drew looked really good after being 7 months off. But the scenario I want to draw up real quick, or at least what I want to draw back, is Parker took a birdie on 17 and AB parred it because he missed a short putt, which put Parker up by 1. AB birdied the last. Parker missed his circle edge putt. They go into a playoff. Parker wins on the second playoff hole. AB turns over his forehand shot, burns it, absolutely takes him out of the hole, and Parker wins. So I'm just wondering if we have any thoughts about, should we have any significance about AB losing to Parker right off the bat?
We can see that AB's forehand still isn't treating him well.
Somebody stop this man from throwing forehands when it all matters, man.
Bro. Okay, here's AB's throwing the Luna everywhere on that course because it's a putter. It's not going to bounce around as much.
Mm.
You can definitely throw an Annie with that thing, bro. Bro is terrible. Sorry, unrelated, but just to like, Low Bro cannot rely on that forehand when game time comes.
No,
Doesn't
that's the
matter
first thing I thought too. It's so funny.
You know?
And let me say something real quick. On the first playoff hole, it's like a triple Mando, and it's a very low ceiling. And he absolutely parked that first hole. And it was like, okay, AB is showing no signs that he's nervous or anything like that. And then honestly, the turnover burned into the ground forehand. It was so hard to watch because Parker laced it and had he was up on the hill like 20 feet. So
I honestly, in my mind, it says more about Parker. I mean, from his commentary, it's in the first round at least, it sounded like he really even hadn't had his DGA discs for that long. So I mean, I think his game looked great
for a week or something.
Yeah, his game looked sick the whole tournament. So I definitely go ahead.
Oh, he almost had that hole in one on 9, I think is what it was. Have you seen that clip?
Mm-hmm.
He threw this sick Anheuser over the trees, and it came down. And literally, he said it hit in the basket at the bottom and popped out.
Yeah, that's wild. Crazy. Dude.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely one of the people last year was like Parker Welk won an Elite Series event. That's wild. You know, good for him. I don't expect him to really like do anything else crazy, but his game was looking nice, especially just being fresh off. And I think people come into that differently, where like you get a whole new bag of discs and you're like, it takes a while to figure it out. It's kind of weird, and some people just roll with it. And it's almost like it lets you throw shots that you wouldn't have thrown before, and you can kind of figure out like, oh, that actually works really well for my game. But his game looked really good, so I was impressed with how it was looking. And I am such an AB stan, and I'm so sad that forehand was so hard to watch.
Yeah, I will say he was looking pretty good otherwise. But I mean, so was Drew. I was really impressed with Drew as well.
Go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and Scott just mentioned it too. I really liked Parker in the commentary booth.
Mm-hmm.
He was clear, he was concise, and he played the course, so he had some idea of what to throw. Like I was like afterwards, I was like, dang, okay, let's see this back again. Unrelated, but I mean, just cool thing for Parker there.
I think he's
looking
got
good on the coverage, sounding good on the coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Parker has a really smooth putting stroke too. It's very short. It's very like precise. You know whose putting stroke did not look very good still? Come on, Corey.
Don't do it to him. Yes, that's true. That's true.
Dude, don't hate on Andrew. I feel so bad for him. He posted that he tried to battle it, but he said it was his first DNF ever. So
I feel like you have to know it's bad when you come off 2 birdies. Like if you're playing like just absolute crap, it's like then it's fine. Like okay, walk off. But this man's still playing good. Off 2 birdies, like I can't do it.
Putting insane.
Yeah.
Marweed's
the GOAT of putting, I think we have to say. But Aaron Gossage, man, he changed up his putting stroke and was still struggling from short distance.
Well, okay, was it struggling as much as like it was? I mean, he was struggling, but like it was in my head when I was watching it. It was like at least he's doing his full setup for that stuff. Maybe he's just trying to drill in that consistency like crazy. Because like you saw in everything, 5-foot putt, he's doing his exact stance, step forward. Yeah. Dart his hand at the basket, okay, and now he actually throws it like he was pretty good. I'm fine with that. If it doesn't look great right now, but he is that dedicated.
It looks better.
Yeah, I would say that's the thing. I almost feel bad for him. Like you can tell he's putting so much work into it too. Like you can tell he's really like motivated to fix it. So I think it'll come. It was. I feel like he had some putts where I was like, oh, that looked really good, and then he had some other putts where I was like, oh, that looked really bad.
And Parker was like trying to do everything he can to like be encouraging on the coverage, be like, he's been really working on it, you know. And you gotta feel bad for him. Any comments about Drew's game? Are we concerned about Drew going into next season, or?
No, I feel great about Drew actually.
Yeah, I think more than anything, like he looked really good in the first round. I think, not really playing a competitive round for, over half a year caught up to him a little bit just in the like probably stamina side. So I think, obviously it's an A tier, it's first round of the season, first turn of the season. I think he's kind of getting back into the swing of things. But yeah, I thought he looked great. He was still, the snap that he gets in his form is just insane. So seemed like that was still back.
I was in the same boat.
That's a really easy course to like warm up to because it seemed like Drew was throwing all hyzers.
Yeah.
So just kind of get his feet wet, and the putter looked like really bad the second round, but like I said, he was 13 down the second round, and it looked like he was gonna like at least put some heat on AB and Parker at the top.
Yeah, he needs to tell AB to not trust his forehand because. Drew does not trust his forehand, and
but I did feel like Drew was missing it on a couple shots. Like I watched it and I was like, what is he gonna do to make this happen? And then because he has so much power, he could make it happen, but you can't make that happen every time. Like I did see the miss of it a little bit. So
I wonder if it's almost one of those things like I don't know if you guys have ever had like tennis elbow or whatever, where it's almost like putting hurts more than throwing just because it's actually more of that fine motor control. Because his putting was like insane round one. I almost wonder if it's one of those things where it's just like actual, the mechanics of putting is harder or like takes more out of him than, obviously the dude's been throwing hyzers since he was like 3 years old. So I feel like that probably comes a little bit more natural.
Yeah.
Wasn't that Paul Macbeth's issue at Worlds, right? He said his shoulder was hurting him, and he actually said it hurt more to putt than it did to throw because of whatever, motion or lifting his arm a certain height.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case may be. So, all right, last thing news-wise that we want to hit before we get into a couple questions here is Drew also posted on Twitter today with a response to the whole Ken Climo fake Twitter page, we'll call it. So if you guys don't know, there's a guy controlling a Twitter page called Ken Climo, and Brody Smith and Drew have tried to do everything they can to get this guy removed because it's not Ken Climo. And Drew got online today and kind of wrote like a long post saying, this isn't good for our community or anything like that. I was just wondering if you guys had any comments about it at all.
So my question with this is, and I'm not on Twitter at all really. So my question is, this is like, is he saying that he doesn't, he wants something done about it because of the comments that this fake account is making, or that they are trying to imitate King Climo?
I would say a little bit of both, but more imitating King Climo more than anything.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and his post today was more of the content of the tweets. Like, I'll say there are some that I found funny. There are some that I think, genuinely crossed the line. There's a couple that I won't get into too much of, like, just the content of his posts that I feel like are a little bit too far. I genuinely agree with a lot of what Drew's saying. I think Drew's advocated for mental health a lot before, and with the content of some of those tweets, I think more, personal attacks and things that are closely personally related to people. I feel bad that, like, society as a whole right now is like, just because you're a public figure, you kind of open yourself up to just being, like, harassed and berated online, which sucks for them. Like, it sucks that they can't be a normal person most of the time. So I agreed with a lot of what he was saying. I also am not a person that's going to, like, make a big outrage about things. Like, I just kind of muted the Geek account and moved on. But, I felt like Drew was more like putting it out there to, have that statement out there for everyone that may not say anything, that actually still are, like, either offended or, take a lot of offense to what the account's posting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally against somebody impersonating someone else. I mean, it's technically against the law in some retrospect. So, but I will say that one of the funniest tweets I've seen so far, it came from that account where he was talking about, but the whole issue came out that Ricky's caddy is the one that leaked information about Eagle going to MVP, and it's the little boy wearing the Batman outfit and the snow coming down, and it's playing the Batman theme song from, like, the last Batman movie, and it's him staring, and it says, when Ricky sees his caddy at the first Pro Tour event. That was hilarious. So he does have some funny things, but yeah, I mean, it got to be against somebody impersonating someone, especially someone like King Climo. So it seemed like Brody leaked some text messages at King Climo saying that he wasn't too happy that somebody was impersonating him. So yeah, we'll have to see what transpires with that. But I still follow the account because I definitely want to know what's going on over there. So it'll be interesting to see if it continues on Twitter or not. So all right, big questions for tonight, because we're moving into, like, a weird period where it's like still the off season, but it's like moving more closer to, like, we'll call it like training camp for football, right? People are starting to practice more. And so now that the off season, quote unquote, is coming to an end, we got a couple of questions regarding the moves that we've seen since Niklas was probably, like, the last guy to make a large move. So first question is, who, in your opinion, has been your signing, or who has been the best signing so far this offseason? So what player was the best signing this offseason?
It's funny because as soon as you ask that question, blank. Like, I can't think of anybody. I'm like, yeah. Okay, so what are brands?
So we'll say this is your signing of the year. Like, this was like, and I have another twist question to go with that. But who is your signing of the year?
Anthony Bonanza to Infinite Discs.
Yeah. I do actually think that's huge, but
I was gonna say, I said that almost as a troll, but I'm honestly really interested to see how that transpires.
Yeah.
And
first
obviously as content creators here, I feel like we have a vested interest in how well that goes for him. But I'll limit that to people who have played in a Pro Tour event, and then we can move forward.
And he also said he's getting a touring contract, so that's pretty big. Matt, what were you gonna say?
My question is in regards to Alden. Since we're talking about content, do you think that a company is viewing Alden's value as a player, or do you think, do you think they have any involvement with his content creation when they're thinking about that? I would be in the know of saying just none. They just care about him as a player. But I
think it's him as a player, and his social media or his YouTube is just a bonus, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't think it's like, hey, we should really look at Alden's Instagram or YouTube and mess around with that with them, and that's what we want to pay him for. I don't think that cares. I don't think they care about that at all. I think Alden's Alden's like one Elite Series away from like exploding, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I'm not saying even in regards to like, hey, I want you to edit the YouTube or like do these kind of things, but just say he's getting paid $80,000 a year. Do you think at any part of them they were like, I like his content, let's pop on another $5,000?
No. I honestly, I'm sure, I feel like there has to be, to an extent, some sort of social media obligations or media obligations in a player's contract. And I think with somebody like Alden, it's not that it's requirement or that's a reason that they went after him, but it's definitely a nice bonus. Like, it might have been easier for them to sign Alden to be like, we'll already have the media requirement knocked out. Like, we don't even have to worry about that with him.
Yeah. No, that might be valid. So, yeah, I don't know. If I were to say my biggest one, while I agree with Taylor that I think Gannon is the most important one, Eagle to MVP is crazy. I was just talking to a buddy about it, and I was like, yeah, they just signed Eagle McMahon. And I was like, well, okay, I got to back up. You don't understand what's going on. Well, at first they signed Simon Lizotte, and then I go, wait, I got to back up even farther. Okay, there's this guy named James Conrad, and he threw in for a shot. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, and this kid was like, wait, he threw in from this far away, and I was like, yeah, and it's pretty much a domino effect on why MVP is now where it's at. But the fact that you can now, like, there's no way for MVP to secure their success more than signing the other Crush Boy and watching that, make that transition there. So, but I would say Eagle.
I liked what Hunter and Trevor said on Griplock regarding the signing of the two, because Trevor was trying to describe it saying that Eagle was a more influential signing to MVP than Simon was. And his explanation was something along the lines of like, Eagle will do more with explaining the disc and advocating the plastic more than Simon will, because Simon doesn't even know what anything is, and he can't remember flight numbers, and he can't remember plastics. And Eagle's been there for like a week or two and is already can like look at and feel at disc blindfolded and tell you what they are. So that was the big, how do you say this? It was the big reason why he would say Eagle was more influential than Simon. So I can see that. Corey, do you have a signing of the year?
Yeah, I think Eagle is second.
Love this.
I think the first one is someone that kind of like was under the radar, but I think has way more potential than we think. Paul Kranz.
Yeah, I
think Paul Kranz to MVP, where he can be in videos with Simon like every week, and it doesn't matter because they're throwing the same stuff. He doesn't have to talk, like, they don't have to talk about different plastics and different teams and stuff like that. So I think Simon bringing him on as like literally the young guy, he's gonna explode there.
Yeah,
dude, Paul Kranz needs to hit me back. I told Taylor I told Tyler I would buy Discmania off him because he was selling it. Bro never responded to my DM.
Paul.
Dude, he's so bad at looking at the request messaging. He doesn't know how to do that, because I tried to hit him up for Iron Hill and he missed out on me catting for him.
He was like, yeah, I'll look at all the request messaging. I want to sell a bunch of Discmania, obviously. And then he's like, oh, I'll look at it tomorrow, and just never hit me back.
You know who's got a lot of Discmania disc?
I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone.
Right here. You can borrow
also
some.
My buddy Dan, because he is still on the train of he's never buying another Discmania disc because they lost both Crush Boys.
Oh, really?
Dan.
Yes, he is still. I don't think he's ever going to.
Daniel's son, come on.
Yeah, here's like my real answer, and I feel like, but I haven't heard this talked about a lot, and I feel like getting into Discmania brings in a lot of people that may not currently have purchasing power, but will in the near future. And that to say, disc golf, as always, is a growing sport. I think that people like to see themselves and people that they're fans of. I think Gannon will have a much younger in general, like fan base, then, you know, Eagle was the young guy, but Gannon's going to, you know, draw a lot more of those eyes. And I think it's going to be a lot of, you know, the younger generation that comes up seeing Gannon be dominant and are going to buy Gannon Discmania disc for the next, you know, 3-4 years to come.
Yeah, maybe so. I would agree.
My signing of the year is somebody who is new to this team. Obviously, he didn't re-sign with them. Well, they could have re-signed, and it could have been a signing
Niklas,
of the year because
the
they
biggest
re-signed with the company. It really could have. Actually, I low-key think he's like 1B, though, because he's a European player. But anyways, this guy has not got a chance to get out and really play with his disc yet because of the snow situation. But Matt to finish line disc was – no, I'm just kidding. I'm just going to go out and say I'll choose Gannon just to be someone different. And just because Gannon's going to bring a new wave, I think, of youth to Discmania. And I think that this is the big thing, is that you have a lot of people who have been following Discmania for a long time and all the end of the made stuff, and that was the Eagle Simon era. And so this is really like a blessing in disguise for Discmania, with the fact that they have a new line of disc or a new made of disc of their own molds, and now they have a new group of young guys. So this is their opportunity to really show off the new molds. Well, with saying that, Gannon, somebody's getting Gannon's ear and say, bro, you cannot throw the old stuff. Like, please throw all of our new stuff, because their new stuff is good, right? But I did hear someone I know that is kind of in the world of disc golf but doesn't pay too much attention to it, and they were saying that nothing that Discmania has right now inspires them. And I've heard someone else say that too. I don't remember who it was. Inspires them. And I don't know what that exactly would mean, but I guess because it doesn't have like the old fancy like names that confuse Matt, like the Skyrider and the Doombird and all that kind of stuff anymore. But I think Discmania's got some cool things up their sleeve. And I think what is so funny,
what do you think the names are going to be for Gannon? It's going
I
to be
knew
like,
you were thinking that. I knew it.
It's going to be like the Tall Gump and like.
I don't even know what they would be called. But
oh my gosh!
All I know is that I will say this: MVP is killing the marketing with their signings. Discmania is not.
Absolutely.
So Discmania needs to get on it. So this is kind of like a part question, but I don't want to go too far into this. But who do you think is going to benefit the most financially from their signing? Is it all the same people you just said, or would it be different?
I think if DGA decides to hire me as a media guy, they're going to benefit the most.
Probably.
Because I don't know if you guys saw, I know you guys did, but
yeah.
Everybody watching and listening, go look at the DGA team video and tell me that was good.
Yeah.
Because you won't.
Yeah, they're not good. We talked about that. And we heard rumor about, I don't know if it's true or not, but their marketing, or not marketing, but media guy who creates the videos or whatever or whatnot is no longer there. So they have somebody's kid making their videos. So no, that's not true at all. But Corey, yeah, you need to get in touch, man. That way you can spice up their videos or something like that. Because it looked like they were still using graphics from like the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I'll reach out.
Yeah. You guys not Tyler Brickley fans. Yeah, Tyler Brickley did a great job. He left last year.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
I'm probably fans of him. I'm just not fans of what is going on right now.
Oh, real job.
He's got like 6 kids or something. I don't know. He went into sales, I think.
Oh.
But no, he was.
Understandable.
He came up. Here's a history lesson. He came up on Central Coast as the Australian accent guy, and Tyler Brickley, and had his own YouTube channel. And then DGA hired him, and he did good videos. But yeah, he went into sales or some stuff.
Yeah.
Shout out Tyler. Brickley,
do we say that?
Podcast.
Shout out, real Tyler. Do we say MVP is going to benefit the most from their signing?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I would swap it from me saying it. Gannon's the biggest. The MVP is going to make the most, just because it's less me even saying that it's Gannon versus Eagle. Just MVP is doing so much more already and so much better on the marketing side. Like Eagle's here, we have a sick stamp, we have a sick envy to sell you right now. Go buy it. Whereas Discmania is just kind of lagging behind, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, and all the videos that MVP's putting out and all of the logoing and everything, it's sick, dude. MVP is cool. MVP is finally like the cool. I'll say this: MVP now is what Discmania was 10 years ago. There it is.
Literally.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Who was on? They're gonna bring. Or, I don't know. Who was on Discmania back in the day, other than Simon and Eagle? I don't know.
Avery
Can't tell you.
Jenkins.
Well, I was gonna say Avery, but Avery works there. He's like their guy.
Yeah.
No, but did you see he? I don't know where I saw this at. He like responded to a comment there. Did you send that earlier, Tyler, or some? Someone was
Is
like,
it?
Avery made a big old post about like, wow, the Crush Boys are gone.
Yeah.
This is so
Yeah.
sad. And then
Yeah, I did. I thought, and like he immediately said, like, but there's a new era to come or something like that. But then didn't reference anything of the new era. He just put.
I feel like
pictures
surely
of-
that's hard because like Avery was the guy that like brought Simon here and like toured with him and like has mentored Eagles since he was like, I'm sure it's hard to replicate the same kind of like feelings towards a new era. Avery Jenkins was like my first big like pros are way better than me realization when I was like a dumb kid in high school and I was reading up on Avery Jenkins in the bag. It was on a forum. That's me being old. And he mentioned that a rock was his favorite controlled mid to throw on any shot for 400 feet or less. And I was like, yeah, I'd throw my DX Archangel 250 feet. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I'm just going to say I got blasted. I'm getting more and more blasted about that rock video, which I absolutely love. So bring the rock hate every week because I'll take it. But
I still haven't thrown one, so I'm going to have to.
There you go. I have to. I mean, I might just go throw a rock 3 so I can just get that out of the way too, because everyone's telling me I need to go throw one of those now. But is Avery Jenkins the real hero of Discmania?
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he is, and I think Avery Jenkins doesn't get enough credit for that. So, shout out to Avery Jenkins. So
now, have you guys thought of any cool nicknames that could replace Crush Boys?
it's got to be Crush Boys.
I just asked the YouTube chat this question, and they all said keep it as Crush Boys. But I don't think you can keep it as Crush Boys. I think MVP is gonna have to change it. But I can't think of anyone.
We're trying to say the gyro guys, and you can see Simon hates that.
Yeah, no.
But I do think you have to change it.
I feel like it. I don't know. Yeah, like can you still be a Crush Boy when you're a father of a child? Like, come on.
They're not Crush Boys. They're Crush
I mean,
Boys.
have you ever seen Dad's Strength before? Those dads that do the arm wrestling against the big buff guys.
He's evolved. He's not a Crush Boy. He's
so
I don't know.
They're very like
space
themed with everything.
Yeah.
Like the gyro, the flight, NASA, all of that stuff. So I'm trying to think if it would be like something I like the launch team, but that makes no sense. Yeah, like
launch team.
Wait, can I steal that?
Also, I like but I also like
the Launch Bros.
I was thinking like Boost Bros.
Ooh, okay.
Or something like that.
I don't
something
hate
that
that.
Or like Blast Bros. Like
we got Launch Squad.
We're getting into
Launch Squad.
some trademarked material that you might not want to get into close to that one.
Yeah.
What, Bash Bros?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super Smash Bros.
There it is.
No, I don't know. Blast Brothers.
Yeah. I'll just say, Corey, this is up your alley, dude. You can find something.
There you go.
Yeah, get cracking, Corey.
Yeah.
What's happening here?
All right.
I just got to drive 2 hours and tell them.
You don't live that far, but 2 hours far. Yeah. All right. So next thing I want to ask you guys is, now that we have like your signing of the year and everyone has their team, who is going to make the biggest leap this year? So the official question is, what manufacturer will make the biggest leap this season?
What do you mean?
You could say like finishing wise or like performance wise, what team is going to make the biggest leap this year?
Oh, okay.
I'll say mine first. And I think this is only because they are at their basement right now, or their floor right now, and that's the Discmania. Not Discmania. I'm sorry. No, not Discmania. Sorry, Discraft.
Watch out.
Yeah, sorry. Moving on. So Discraft, I think, because they only had one win last year, and it was Corey Ellis. Right? They bring back the entire team, and I think it's the only team that is their like floor right now. Like this team should win like 33%.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. You look at that roster, it's like they have one win. That's insane because their roster is stacked.
Especially with Paul. Like you could take Paul out of the equation, they still should win, I think, a third of the events essentially. So I mean, Gossage needs to make the move. AB needs to make a move. Those are the two biggest guys I can really think of that can get some wins. But yeah, I mean, Paul could go off too this year. Paul won a bunch in Europe, but he didn't win anything in the United States. So yeah. I think Discraft has to be the one that makes the biggest leap this year. But it feels really weird saying that because they already have a good quality team. And I won't take Corey Ellis's name out of that. Corey Ellis gets a win too. But he pulled a lot of the way.
AB's phone number. If he's on the last hole or things matter, this bro, if you throw a forehand right now, your contract's over. Just take it away. Just take it away.
I mean, I'll ask a mini question about AB when we're done this segment too.
Can I get off topic really quick and talk about how Discraft just loves pushing new discs in every plastic they can come out with, because they just dropped the Cicada and Big Z.
I saw that.
And I still can't get certain plastics for like the Zombie.
Yeah.
Which is like a 2012 disc. Like, it's crazy.
No Zombie love.
But I mean, like, that's not a popular disc. So, I mean.
Shut up.
I mean, it makes sense.
How do you know the Cicada's popular?
Because it sold out immediately?
Yeah, because they were
releasing
but
if the Zombie released today.
Disc.
So what they need to do is discontinue the Zombie.
Pretty much is the Cicada. I will kill you.
I know that.
No.
Come to your house.
I will kill you, dude.
I'm saying they need to put the Zombie away for like 3 or 4 years and then be like, oh my gosh, we got a new disc.
McRib. It's back.
They need to rename it, like remarket it.
They did. It's called the Cicada, and now they're dropping every plastic. I hate it.
I did forget to bring that up earlier when we were talking about new stuff. I did see that it just came out on their socials, the Big Z Cicada. So why Big Z plastic? I guess that's like
Z and
ESP.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess so. I guess Big Z's the next one.
It's their third plastic, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Big Z plastic.
Yeah. All right. So who we got? Who's your biggest? What manufacturer is going to make the biggest leap? Matt, I said Discmania, and then I bit my tongue and I said Discraft. So Matt, do you think Discmania?
Yeah. Okay. It should be Discmania.
Why?
By all metrics.
Why?
Because we just added Gannon Burr and Alden Harris. Okay. Both people that were saying Alden is due for a win, due for a big one, and we expect it. Gannon Burr's already got it. Okay. I don't think that MVP.
But they lost Eagle.
I don't think that matters. I don't think Eagle is going to do much as far as that goes.
Eagle was arguably the best player the second half of the season last year.
I will say he's not playing to like win. Is he not playing?
Arguably, yes.
Yeah, it's a while. He's recovering from injury, or he's still recovering from that. So hopefully he's fine. But I don't think he's going to be popping off here. I think it's more, now we're all going to say this, and then it's going to turn around and Isaac Robinson's going to win 4 events and be Prodigy's only main thrower, and we're just going to look like fools. But arguably, that's the case.
Ezra's popping off this year. Ezra's winning 2 majors this year.
I know. I was going to say, we have saved Prodigy to last to talk about tonight, so I promise you we will hit that topic.
Put some respect on Kevin Jones' name.
Yeah, we'll talk about Prodigy at the very end, I swear. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess you could say Discmania, but, like, they're already in, like, a spot that was, like, here-ish. I think we're totally just, like, looking over Niklas because he didn't win much last year, and he's 22. I think he's prime. I think him and Gannon could go down and have some battles down the stretch. I mean, him and Gannon did have a battle at USDGC 2 years ago. So Don't forget about those guys. I think Alden is just like here. I think it's Gannon and Niklas like way up here. So, what do you think, Taylor?
Yeah, I'm going to just tap into some recency bias, but their team also just grew a lot, and I'm going to say DGA. I think DGA, not even in like...
Suck it, Kyle.
Not even like tournament performance. I think in just general like market share, though, and public opinion, I think DGA is going to get a huge bump this year. I mean, they're already getting a lot more visibility, lead card coverage and everything from this weekend. I mean, I think that's kind of underrated. I feel like of all post-production content, and I could have numbers to back this up, but I don't, so I'm going to make it up. I mean, people are I am a fiend for disc golf content. As soon as I can get some like new pros playing disc golf, I feel like though that tournament's going to get watched a lot, and you're going to be watching Parker just shred with some fresh DGA plastic. So I think they're going to get a lot of market share increase. And realistically, the team, they lost Austin Turner, who I'm a big Austin Turner fan, but I mean, he hasn't really been super visible over the past few years. I know he's dealt with some injuries. So they're getting more chances than ever now to be relevant, and I love that because I'm a low-key DGA fan.
Quick question real quick. Who has a brighter future, DGA or Discraft, team-wise?
I know you want us to say DGA.
It doesn't matter to me. Honestly, it doesn't matter, but I'm just trying to settle an argument right now.
I still think it's Discraft.
Yeah, why would it not be Discraft, bro?
Listen. I get that, and I
think you're talking about Cole and Parker.
And there's a couple other people on that
Tristan
team. That's Sullivan Tipton.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And also, they did sign the girl who's like 19 who throws like 1,000,000 feet.
Oh, that is true. That's a good shout out. She could be sick.
I mean, they signed Macy Valadiaz, not a big player, but like a decent player. I know she's going to be a mom soon. But like, there are some players that are trending in like up. And there's a lot of people that are young on that team.
Yeah. I think that's a lot of eggs in the coal basket for me. I feel like.
Yeah. Listen, I get it. I think Discraft does have a better future than DGA, but I was trolling the guy in our group today, and I was saying DGA has a brighter future because of all those younger players. And
because you're going to get signed?
No, I'm not going to get signed. That's not happening. I wish it's not going to happen. But listen, I will say this: the team DGA what team has more wins from last season with the players they have? It's DGA. They have 2. Discmania, I keep saying that. Discraft has 1. So that was my big ploy. But
okay. So I have 2 for this. My realistic one was going to be DGA. I definitely think Cole's going to pop off. Andrew's going to get healed and go back to just being insane at putting. And then I think Parker has a big future ahead of him. But then my funny one is the fact that they have 0 points on tour, and they're going to get at least some. Trash Panda.
Ooh.
Okay.
For how?
Yeah.
Because they signed...
Who did they signed somebody.
It's an FPO player. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think... can't think of her name.
Hey, by the way, the chat was mentioning this. Anyone know if Paige Pierce updated that she re-signed with Discraft?
Yeah, I'm kind of lost in the sauce on that one because I have no idea.
Didn't she have like a 10-year deal with them?
No, she
was up. Their like whole FPO team was up this year.
Yeah.
How do you not have a post on your website about this? Come on, bro.
It was on their Instagram.
You got to go straight to the IG, brother. Straight to the IG.
I think people were waiting on that. So Corey, you're saying Trash Panda, if I get that correct. I wasn't looking at the screen when you said that.
Yeah, because Trash Panda had no one they were sponsoring, and now they have one, which means statistically, they have to do way better than they did last year.
That's true.
Erica Stinchcomb. Yep. Thank you to the chat.
Yeah.
Found at the same time.
Yeah.
They clutched up and helped us out there.
They've been going live the whole time. They can answer our questions.
Yeah. Scott's digging through for us, so he's got the data.
Yeah.
No, that is a valid. That is funny.
Some live, not Trevor's trivia is going to go hard.
I know.
It's gonna be embarrassing. It's
I
gonna
know.
be really embarrassing.
One thing I'll throw out there as well, though. Also MVP. I think we have to say MVP because Paul could maybe do something this year, maybe Paul Kranz, but also just having Eagle is just gonna like take it just another step further. Like, can you imagine if Simon wins, let's say 3 events, and let's say Eagle wins 3 events, and one of them wins a major? That's 7 events won by an MVP company, which is like never even close to been done. So, I mean, MVP could go through the roof as well if Eagle gets it together. So
I'm not saying that can't happen, but like 3 events each, that's an insane season.
You know, Kyle's my guy in here. James Proctor, yes, is the most underrated. That guy is gonna hoop.
Yeah. Who said that, Kyle?
Kyle said that. Yep.
Yeah. We're big. We talk big on James Proctor, but
I think
he's out there running and swimming and biking right now.
I think low key, I think who's gonna have a sick comeback season this year is my guy Chris Dickerson, and it's some cope because I'm a Tennessee guy, but I feel like, I mean, we're playing a lot more on the East Coast right now this year. We got Florida, we got Virginia in the mix. I think this is gonna be a Chris Dickerson year.
Big W's there.
He didn't get a win on the season last year, did he?
Mm-mm.
No.
I mean, that's what I'm saying, dude. All these Discraft guys did nothing last year. Like, they could win like half the tournaments probably. There's a lot of potential everywhere. I think this is going to be the hardest year to get a win, just because there's so many people.
Whoa! You think it's going to be the hardest year to get a win, and you think that Eagle and Simon are each going to get 3 wins?
I'm saying it could happen. I said think about this scenario is what I said.
Bro, I could run on the Pro Tour next week with only rollers. It could happen, brother, but I don't know if that's logical in this case.
I said think about this scenario. It could happen. It could.
All right. We'll let it cook out. Maybe I'll be wrong here.
Next and last thing that I want to bring up, and then we can leave it for if anyone wants to bring anything up at the end, is the Prodigy question, right? Is Prodigy putting all of their eggs in one basket with Isaac, essentially?
They're putting all their eggs in one basket with the Robinson brothers, I'd say.
Does anyone know? I don't know this off the top of my head. When did Kevin Jones sign? Like, how long is Kevin Jones' contract through?
He's got a 34-year contract.
So I feel like he signed a big deal for them, and like, I love Kevin Jones. This man has had no pressure on him to play well.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Kevin Jones. It looks like based on Ultiworld's active contracts, he is done with Prodigy in 2025.
Yeah, because he signed a long one. And
I thought he signed
has just been chilling
before. I thought last offseason he signed a 4-year deal.
They're saying 2022 to 2025.
Kevin Jones signed a 2-year, $3,500,000 contract with the Chicago Bears. Thank you, Internet.
Yeah, thank you.
That's pretty sick.
He extended through 26 and the beginning of 22.
Oh, that's accurate. They're saying his contract ends at 25, but it ends. Yeah, it's a little zest fest on their part. But
so we were talking about this right before we went live a little bit about Prodigy's touring team, and this is who is on their core team. They call it. It's Kale LaVisca, Ezra Robinson, Isaac Robinson, Kevin Jones, Luke Humphreys. I wish I knew how to say his name, but the guy from Japan, who's really good.
Manabu Kashiyama.
There you go. Thank you.
Don't worry.
I knew Taylor was going to help me out. That's why I said that. And then Vino Mekala is on their core team, and that's it. So, I mean, I don't know. I was just thinking, like, is Prodigy saying we're going to keep Isaac, or is it just we're going to keep Isaac for as long as we can before he signs an even bigger deal? I just wonder what Isaac's making, because he signed a contract, what was it, last year for 3 years? So he's got 2 more years on his contract. That was just a bad timing for him.
Yeah, I'll say he got absolutely worked by some timing on that one. That's like worst case scenario. Let me sign a decently long-term deal and then absolutely have the best season of all time for my career.
Is Prodigy down bad right now?
No.
I don't think they're down bad, but I do. Waiting. I want to start the train of like more people need to talk about Kevin Jones. Kevin Jones needs to play better. Like I feel like nobody talks about Kevin, and he just like skates around at like 20th, and he's just chilling. Like nobody brings it up. Just like we gotta. I want to start the social media campaign of like we need KJ USA back.
I'm with you. I'm with you. When I first got into disc golf, he was my favorite guy, and I got real disappointed when he wasn't performing.
He's never been the same since those back-to-back like 60-foot rollaways to lose a tournament, whatever that was, like 2 or 3 years ago.
Get the reverb out of his bag. Stop letting him throw that thing. Let him go back to those flippy D2s and D1s.
Yeah.
And whatever plastic what it was, like 300 or 400 or whatever. But yeah, I don't know if. Yeah.
Wait, what is the reverb?
The reverb is like a 13503 or something like that.
What's his approach disc?
Distortion.
Oh.
And an A3.
Okay.
So those were his guys. So, I mean, we'll have to see what Isaac does because he's got the archive now, and we'll have to see what happens with Ezra and everything. It just seemed like Prodigy is just leaking all their good players quickly.
Yeah. No, we were just talking about this in the chat here. I think Prodigy does have the potential, if they can correctly use the Robinson brothers, they can make their team feel way bigger in content than it is. Like they released I don't know what they call it, something like the Flight Diaries, but it wasn't the Flight Diaries because that's Brian Earhart's show. But it was like something where Ezra and Isaac played a round at their like home course, and they actually brought people out to film it, and it was generally nice, and it was a fun piece of content, and they just need to keep pushing that. But what often happens in the middle of the season is we just don't get anything from players.
I think they should call that the Crush Brothers.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
You're onto something.
Yeah.
You're onto something.
Yeah.
It's pretty catchy. I imagine this real quick. I just thought about this a second ago. If Prodigy didn't let anyone go in the last 2 years, this is who they could have on their team: Matty O, Chris Dickerson, Gannon Burr, Alden Harris,
Katrina Allen somewhere in there.
Katrina Allen, if they held on to her. Leke, but I mean, she's not a big player. But Leke, I feel like just
Prodigy's like the modern sponsor where like every good player, you're like, oh yeah, they were on Prodigy for a little bit. Like Ricky, Yuli, Germ. Like there's so many like notable players that are like, oh yeah, they were on Prodigy for a while.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think if they all kept those players, like that would be like a team right there. But obviously, I don't know. I guess Prodigy doesn't do well in sales. I don't know.
I've never been inclined to buy a Prodigy disc.
They're nice. There's a guy in our group, shout out Jesse Betts. He was a big Prodigy guy for a while. Still has some Prodigy in his bag. The other guy, I'll shout him out too because I kept on saying the other guy, Kyle Bailey. Shout out Kyle as well. But Prodigy is nice. I mean, I had a flippy D3 for a while, and I bagged the Shadowfax. I love the Shadowfax. So
yeah, I feel like I don't know if it's marketing or like, because I used to be a pretty big Prodigy fan, like regionally, from the Southeast, a lot of our tournaments and stuff Prodigy would sponsor. So I ended up with a lot of Prodigy discs and liked them. I had an inkling to buy an archive and never bought it. Outside of that, I feel like I've not had like any desire to buy a Prodigy disc for a long time. So I feel like that's at that point it's like a failure of marketing because like I'm probably your target demographic to an extent of like somebody that would buy a Prodigy disc.
Yeah. Oh, and an A2 as well. I bagged that and I love the heck out of that. But I don't know. I'm curious to see if Prodigy is going to be forgotten or not, or if Isaac's going to come back out and he's going to start firing rounds and winning tournaments and winning majors again.
I feel like I could almost see them just like pivoting to focusing on Europe too. Like Prodigy Europe I feel like Prodigy Europe does better than Prodigy in the US. So I could almost see them focusing on European players. I feel like Vino could pop off at some point too. Like Vino's game's pretty nice.
He's got a big following on social media. He's got like over 50,000 followers on Instagram.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they have Niklas in Europe, so.
But not on Prodigy.
Yeah, in Europe.
What are you saying?
that video.
Oh yeah, I know.
Prodigy Europe, Niklas, and then when he comes to the U.S.,
He was there.
Oh.
Yo, what if he did that? What if he was like, I'm sponsored by Prodigy when I play overseas?
What if it was his idea though by Prodigy? He was like, "Yo, put me in your Prodigy video. We'll troll some people that think I'm going to Prodigy."
Which I think later on I saw somebody say that like you could pretty obviously still see that he was putting with Discmania putters, but it was definitely a solid little bit going for.
Kyle just put in the chat. He said, ever since the pound bag came out, Prodigy's been down pretty bad. Is there a curse?
Here's my wild conjecture. I feel like, and I'm still on the train of like, why is Kevin Jones bad at disc golf now? I almost want to say, you were saying like his flippy D2s or whatever. I feel like Kevin had so many discs that he loved that he tried to replace with like signature discs. And I wonder if they're just not the same, but he still wants to throw them. So like they'll sell, but because he loved those, it was either A4s or A5s that he threw all the time. And I think he's like trying to throw distortions now. I just wonder if he's almost like cursed himself of like trying to make his own signature disc that flew like discs he loved, and they're just not the same.
Yeah, that could be reasonable. I don't know. If he's had a lot of stuff like that, it could absolutely be right there. So,
why doesn't he just do the trick where you stamp
the old one?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
He hasn't quite got that desperate yet.
And stamp reverb on the D2 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something I thought about too is I was trying to think about like players that sign that we've all forgotten about. How about Matty O signing a 4-year deal with Westside? That was kind of unforgotten too. That was really early on though. They had like a whole skit for that and everything.
That video was sick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see if he actually starts being
do you guys
in the winner's circle.
Matty O wins again over that contract?
That's a good question.
It's a great
Over
question.
the contract, maybe. Next year, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he knows how, I mean, he's got a win under his belt now.
Yeah, but between Simon and Isaac and Eagle winning 3 each, there's no room for Matty O right now.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
Yeah. That's for sure true. So my last question I was going to ask you guys to end this time is, what are you most excited about coming out of this off season? And you can't just say for the tour to start back up. Like, give me something specific. It could be a disc, a player, a team, something. What are you most excited about coming out of this off season?
I'm going to have to say the 2022 putter of the year, the Birdie Marvel. Did you think it wasn't going to happen? Come on. I've actually been using this as like a mouse pad, so it doesn't sound like crap when I'm moving around. But
that's awesome. I'm most excited about that.
I don't know.
I am curious about like Eagle's first disc, not like the Envy, but like his actual first signature disc.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to be the Streamline time lapse?
Someone was saying something about that. I was reading some other stuff about it, like right before he hopped on, and I think they were saying like, I guess they think that there's a good chance that Eagle really is focused on MVP and Axiom because the gyro technology really interests him.
Yeah.
Like he was talking about, there was a little interview where he was talking about it pretty detailed. But also something about like his own custom line of discs wasn't happening or something. Or like
I feel like if it was, we would have heard more about it by now. But
yeah,
that's what I was
kind
of leaning towards too.
So,
he was talking about it wasn't like it in the bag, but he did that video going over like his MVP collection. Wasn't he talking about like wanting to either rename or re-put in production one of like their old like 14.5 speed drivers that they had taken out of production? It was like the limit or something, I want to say. But he was talking about like potentially bringing a disc back and like either renaming it or just having it be produced again. Some like insanely fast, insanely overstable Eagle thing.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
I think the most thing I'm excited about is seeing what Paul Macbeth can do when he comes back. So it sounds like he's playing down in Florida at his own tournament. So it'll be interesting to see if he's back to form and he's in the running, or if he's going to be donezo. So wouldn't it be wild if Ricky and him just started going at it again?
I would love
and
it.
just like shut all of this noise up about everyone else. We all forgot about MVP, Discmania, DGA, all this stuff, and it was just Paul and Ricky all over again. That'd be wild, wouldn't it?
I'd like it.
Yeah, I'll quickly hop in and say I'm most excited to watch James Proctor. Having a year on tour and kind of learning some of those courses for the first time and playing as well as he did, I'm excited to see what he'll do this year.
Yeah, he'll have to. I don't know if disc golf will be his main thing or if it'll be triathlon performing. He's been doing a lot of triathlon stuff. Dude's running like 11 miles a day or whatever.
More than me.
Yeah. I got one last thing. Jesse said something, and I need to ask him a follow-up question. Okay, in the chat here. Jesse, you said Ezra Robinson isn't likable. Why?
Dang, I also miss Seppo Payu so much, man. That's a great point.
I liked Ezra on Bedanza's video.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, Jesse said this, and I said, why isn't he likable? And he gave me no response on this. If you say, I don't know, just isn't likable,
the only thing I can think of is I've seen him have anger issues.
Ezra.
Like where he's like not putting as well as he wants, and he has that kind of like temper tantrum, like, and like I guess that's the only thing I could think of.
Isaac got called for a violation as well because he threw a glove down the bag. Did you see that video? No, I'm just kidding. No, he threw a glove down on his bag. It was on Ace Run. They posted it.
I don't know what this kid is yapping. Here's my point. If you tell me a player isn't likable and I ask you why and you say I don't know, that tells me that it's not that the player is not likable. It tells me that the player's attitude isn't being presented very well by their company or by content. That's my point of that.
Shout out Heath Ledger.
Shout out Heath.
R.I.P.
It's derailed that logic. All right, that's it.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Jesse didn't have a real answer for me on that one.
That's hilarious. Corey, did you have an actual response to that last question? I don't remember what you said. You're most excited about? You said the Marvel, but
yeah, I'm excited to see specific people win specific events that I am calling ahead of time. If that makes any sense.
So
Goose is winning D-Glow.
Okay.
Chris Dickerson is winning Worlds.
That's it so far.
God. Yep.
Corey said he wanted us to predict every win for this next coming season.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That might have to be like a special episode, or we'll just do a whole episode on it.
We'll do a full episode like that.
Okay. Corey's running the show. Sounds good. That does sound fun. So, all right, guys, I think we'll wrap this episode up here with that. It's been fun. It's been fun to go live. We'll have to see if we can get some more people in the chat in the next coming weeks when the season gets fired up, and we'll talk a little bit more. We have a little bit of stuff coming in the plans in the future with getting our predictions ready for the next coming season and everything. So we'll just shout out Foundation real quick. You can go to foundationdiscgolf.com to get all your disc golf needs. And apparently, I heard today apparently that the Pioneer V4 bag, the first wave of whatever that heck that means, it came in, and they're going to have more of it in colors in the next coming weeks. So it sounds like to me parts are coming from China and they're assembling it here in the United States. That's what it made it sound like. I don't know if that's true or not, but the Pioneer V4 bag that we've been told was coming in December, then January, then we'll see it in about a couple years maybe. But that is coming, so we'll be on the lookout for that as well. But thanks so much for you guys for hanging out with us in the chat. We'll see you guys next week, same time, same place. See you guys later. Have a good night. Peace.
Peace.